Brent Jones, financial advisor, is at the game. And we're getting set for the Jets and the Jags. A quick pick here.
Jets are healthy and they're fresh. I'm going to go with the Jets.
Home field advantage too much. I'm sticking with the Jets, too.
I'm sticking with the Jets, too.
I'm going to go with the Jets and the seat away from my man at Denver. That's what I want.
You guys don't believe me. I like the Jags leading at halftime. I'll get you that far, all right? Coming up, the AFC divisional playoff game between the Jags and the Jets. The winner gets to play the Broncos next Sunday. We'll see you back on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Enjoy.
CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It's been 30 years since the fans of New York City were swept up by one of the great upsets in football history. Joe Namath and the New York Jets victorious in Super Bowl III. Bill Parcells earned his place among New York football legends by winning 2 titles as head coach of the Giants. He's back in New York, this time as head coach of the New York Jets. Answering the prayers of their fans, the Jets captured the AFC East title and have positioned themselves for a run at a second Super Bowl. Jacksonville head coach Tom Coughlin is a Bill Parcells disciple, his fiery style reminiscent of his mentor. He's also tasted success as a head coach. He took over the Jaguars in '95. 1 year later, had them in the AFC Championship game after stunning upsets in Buffalo and in Denver. Now the Jags are back in the playoffs for the 3rd straight year. A first-round victory last week over New England has put the Jags 1 game away from the AFC title game and 2 wins away from the Super Bowl. It's been 12 years since the Jets have hosted a playoff game. Today, a time this team and its fans have thirsted for. It's a battle for the final spot in the AFC Championship game as Jacksonville travels into frenzied Jet territory. CBS coverage of the AFC Divisional Championships continues this afternoon from the Meadowlands in New Jersey. The Jacksonville Jaguars come in as champions of the Central Division with a 12-5 record overall to take on the New York Jets, who are 12-4. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bert Lundquist along with Randy Cross. Welcome to the Meadowlands and the continuation of a remarkable Jet story. 1-15 2 years ago, division champions for the first time since the merger this year. And Randy, any number of feel-good stories this year, none more prominent than Vinny Testaverde and his quarterback play for the Jets.
When I think of Vinny Testaverde, I think of poise and confidence in 1998. The Jaguars go over there on Vinny Testaverde. They got to blitz him and try to shake that confidence. For the Jets defense, if you had to say one guy embodies the whole thing that the Jets are about on defense, it's Brian Cox. The entire team has to reflect his personality. For the Jaguars, they got kind of a two-headed monster on offense. Mark Brunell has to stay in the game and has to stay healthy. Fred Taylor's running game keeps Mark Brunell healthy. But for the Jaguars on defense, a huge story will be how they handle Vinny in the offense. And Kevin Hardy has to be the guy in charge of getting after Vinny Testaverde.
Jets in the playoffs for the first time since '91, first time at home since 1986. We'll be back. 25 degrees, but down on the field. For more on that story, here's Michelle Tafoya.
Yeah, Vern, this is the ice that was chipped off the sidelines earlier today, but the field itself is fine. It was covered by a tarp before all the snow and rain hit earlier this week. Players who were warming up told me it's springy and soft, not frozen and hard like they expected, but no one was afraid to admit how cold it is down here, and it's only going to get colder as the wind picks up, which is expected to do. Vern, back up to you.
All right, Michelle, the Jets have won the toss and have elected to receive before obviously a sellout crowd of better than 74,000. Mike Hollis will kick off. And the deep men for the New York Jets, Kevin Williams, number 23, and Dave Meggett, picked up by Bill Parcells As a free agent in mid-December when Leon Johnson went down, he is a Parcells favorite.
And this is the time of year, these are the reasons you sign a Dave Meggett late.
Here's the Hollis kick. And it will be taken by Meggett at the 9-yard line. Spills, he gets to the 29-yard line. Vinny Testaverde, 12-1 to start of this year. But for all his years in the NFL, this will be only his third playoff start. He was 1-1 as a starter for Cleveland in '94. Up front, remarkable play by an offensive line that has started every game this year. Elliott, Berger, Mawai, O'Dwyer, and Fabini. Curtis Martin, more than 1,200 yards. Byers back from an inactivity. Corbett and Keyshawn Johnson both with over 1,000 yards receiving. Officially, the ball spotted at the 30, first down and 10. That's Byers in motion. And Testaverde will throw on first down, lobs it out to Martin. He's got two blockers in front. Breaks across the 40 and surges out to the 46-yard line. Bryce Pop makes the tackle. A gain of 17 and a first down for the Jets. Jacksonville's defense, and it has been a problem this season. Smengi, Yurkovich, Pritchett, and Curry up front for Tony Brackett. Pop, Schwartz, and Hardy, the linebackers. And in the secondary, you've got Beasley, Hudson, Darius, and Dave Thomas at 6'3". He goes up against Keyshawn Johnson much of the afternoon. First down from the 47. Play fake, Testaverde comes right. He's got Keyshawn Johnson across the 50 to the 48. And Aaron Beasley is there to make the tackle.
I really like that first call, that little screen play, because that set up some blocking down the field and some physical football, specifically by Kevin Mawai, the center. But then you follow it up with a little short one to Keyshawn, and you got something going on out here on the outside. Jacksonville does not have small corners. Beasley, 21, is not a small corner. And on the other side, Dave Thomas is the exact same size as Keyshawn Johnson.
Bill Parcells in his second year as head coach of the Jets. Author of an astounding turnaround. Here's the handoff to Martin on 2nd and 3. And he breaks it up the middle over Kevin Mawai's block. First down, Jets after the 7-yard gain. Kevin Hardy and Eric Curry make the tackle.
Well, what the Jets want to do is establish inside a matchup right here. John Yurkovich and Kevin Mawai. Look at the quick swim by Mawai. He knows he's got Byers coming backside on that quick trap from the wing. That opens the entire defense up. That wasn't a group of really fantastic blocks on Tom Coughlin's defense. It was the defense reacting to what they saw and overreacting, creating a hole.
First down at the 39. This is Brady in motion to the left. There's a quick toss out to Martin. Aaron Curry with penetration, and Martin cuts back to the right. Curtis Martin at the 33-yard line. Donovan Darius and Chris Hudson, the safeties, make the tackle.
Well, that was a nice job, though, by Donovan Darius at that safety position, because the Jets have got this quick toss. Denver started this with Terrell Davis. The Jets have adopted it. The whole idea is to get the corner. The corner's been stuffed, so when Martin breaks back, that young safety has the presence of mind to be there and cut that whole thing off. But look at Keyshawn Johnson working inside against Eric Curry, a defensive end. I love watching these receivers from New York block, because they'll block linemen, linebackers, it doesn't matter.
Johnson wide to the left on 2nd down. Byers in motion. They hand it off to Martin. This time, defensive penetration led by John Yurkovich. The fire plug at defensive tackle, and Martin is stopped at the 35.
Hey, this Jacksonville defense has really been worn out the last 3 or 4 weeks. Not so much on the field as much as off the field. People just rip this team. Curtis Martin made a comment about having a big game this week, and this defense is taking it personally. But the best way to take it personally against a Curtis Martin, you better be able to handle those 5 guys up front.
Dave Meggett in. First time on offense, and the spread offense now for Vinny Testaverde. He's got 5 receivers out. Johnson in the slot to the left on 3rd down. Here comes the blitz. Beasley coming in the blitz, and Meggett with the catch. Played, of course, for Parcells out of Towson State with the Giants. A 5th-round draft pick. Then went to New England when it was cut by the Patriots and signed by Bill in December.
You know, been waiting for this since the playoffs started. The off week, knowing that Bill Parcells and David Meggett weren't rejoined here in New York with the Jets, for Dave Meggett to cover kickoffs. He's a weapon as a receiver out of the backfield. He lined up in that case as the wide split receiver on the left. And don't forget also, this young guy at Towson State, like you said, can also throw a pass.
That's a 14-yard gain officially. Testaverde play fake. Swing, he comes from the outside. Johnson, touchdown! Keyshawn Johnson.
The Jets have motion. The Jets are a little spread out with Keyshawn. Vinny reads the defense. And look what Keyshawn Johnson has done all alone. Every game there's a defensive back that seems to have a kick me sign on him. Aaron Beasley is the kick me sign for Jacksonville.
John Hall knocks through the point after touchdown. Keyshawn Johnson, 83 catches in the regular season. His first ever in the playoffs. Jets lead by 7.
Not much space here between Keyshawn and Aaron Beasley. Watch that space grow. Safety sits. Keyshawn keeps going. Great execution and mental alertness by Vinny Testaverde to find Keyshawn.
Here's the catch from Sean Hall. Tavian Banks and Reggie Barlow deep. This is Tavian Banks at the 5. Comes left, and the Jaguars will get it offensively for the first time at their own 24-yard line. Well, the Jets go with the opening kickoff, 70 yards. They average 10 per pop. Johnson gets the touchdown from 21 yards out.
Yes, is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by American Express. American Express helps you do more.
Jacksonville first down 10 at the 24. Mark Brunell injured in the second play toward the end of the season against Detroit. He missed, in effect, 4 regular season games. Modestly effective last week when he came back with a high ankle sprain. The big question for Mark Brunell is a matter of mobility. First down, Jets open with a 3-4 defense, and they send at 3. Brunell with time, but good coverage, and it's batted backwards by Jason Ferguson. Let's check the defensive line. You now know that Jason Ferguson is opening up a tackle. We'll check the Jaguars offense. Boselli, Coleman, John Wade, his second start. Brian DeMarco and Leon Searcy. Fred Taylor, Damon Shelton in the backfield. Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith at the wideouts. And Pete Mitchell is the tight end. Second down and 10. Taylor comes left. Finds a crack across the 30 out near the 34-yard line. Now their normal defensive alignment for the Jets looks like this, a 4-3. So they opened with a 3-4. Lyle, Ferguson, Logan, and Pleasant up front. The linebackers, Mo Lewis, Pepper Johnson, and Brian Cox. Aaron Glenn will play today. He's been injured with a bad ankle, but Ray Mickens starts for him. Corwin Brown, Green, and Otis Smith complete that defensive alignment. And we have a measurement. That much.
One thing about facing Bill Parcells' defense led by Bill Belichick is you know you're going to get variety. And right away from the get-go, Belichick there is showing Mark Brunell and the Jags offense, I'm not giving you what you're going to expect all the time. Watch on third down. Belichick will go with 2 defensive linemen, 5 linebackers sometimes. You can never predict what this guy's going to pull on you, but you've got to be able to react.
Third and a foot. Double tight end set. You see the CBS first down line. Marked beyond which they must go, and they do. Fred Taylor gets the first down at the 35. Jason Ferguson with the tackle. And help supplied by Pepper Johnson and Mo Lewis.
One thing about this young running back out of Florida, though, you see him twice so far. He's gone onside. And when he runs onside, he can pop some big plays. And last week, 162 yards in that wild card game against New England. He's at his most dangerous, though, when he cut backs and thinks you're going to give him that gap.
Skips across the 35 and into the hands of Rick Lyle and Jason Ferguson, 95 and 72. A lot been made that Fred Taylor, who grew up in Belgrade, Florida, and played, of course, collegiately at the University of Florida, is not used to the cold. He was telling us last night that the first time he saw snow was on a recruiting trip to Michigan State in Lansing, and he thought that Gainesville looked pretty good.
Yeah, I think all that kind of stuff is just hype for sports writers personally. This kid can run.
And right about now, he's forgotten that it's a little chilly. Here's Brunell with a play fake. Look at the time. And the pass incomplete, intended for Pete Mitchell. Brian Cox, number 51, was there. But again, Brunell with good offensive line play.
Well, you remember what we talked about, though, that Brunell has got to stay healthy. And I'm sure the Jaguars went in thinking, hey, look, they're going to blitz him. They're going to come after him and try to knock him around. Well, what Belichick and the defense are doing are going, hey, we're not going to blitz you. You're going to have to beat us with your head as much as your arm and your feet.
Mark Brunell said last night that one of the keys for the Jaguars today is how well they recognize third down defenses that Bill Belichick throws at them. 3rd and 9 here. Here comes the blitz. Brunell in trouble, clips it out. Intended for Damon Shelton, the fullback. And there's a flag.
Prior to the snap, delay of the game, offense. Prior to the snap, delay of the game, offense. 5 yards.
That is a big break for the Jacksonville Jaguars, because Tom Coughlin's offense now has seen one of Bill Belichick's blitz packages. Came out and looked like a 4-man line with Brian Cox coming from the quarterbacks onside, the left side. They blitzed him on the backside. They've seen the package. Can they take advantage?
3rd and 14. Reggie Barlow to the left. Brunell will go into the shotgun, but McElwee blows his whistle. Now let's see what Bob McElwee has to explain.
8:28, please. 8:28.
Well, they put an additional 8 seconds back on the clock. This is a Jacksonville team that comes in as division champions, first time in their 4-year history. Tom Coughlin, of course, has been the coach all 4 years. They are the more experienced playoff team between these two. Here's Brunell. Here comes the rush. Cascadden is coming, and the pass is into the general vicinity of the Jacksonville bench. Anthony Pleasant put the pressure on, and look at Brunell limping as he gets up.
Well, when you hit Brunell, it's got to be inside out. When I say inside out, cause a confusion between the guards and the center. Look at the game inside. Pleasant goes outside, Cox comes inside, and Pleasant gets released. And it's Pleasant that hits Mark Brunell. Watch the stunts and the blitzes inside, getting in Mark Brunell's legs.
Brian Barker on to punt on 4th down. Dave Meggett still dangerous at 32. Will grab this one at the 29. This time, excellent downfield coverage by the Jaguars. A 40-yard punt for Brian Barker. 4 on the return for Dave Meggett. We play midway through the first quarter. January in Jersey. The Jets lead 7-0.
On CBS is sponsored by the American General Financial Group. Live the life you've imagined. And by IBM. Are you ready for e-business?
Dick Duran, the defensive coordinator of the Jaguars, said last night their goal today is to limit the Jets to 2 big plays in 60 plays. Big plays defined as a run over 15 or a pass over 20. In the first drive, the Jets had 2 big plays, 2 for 7. Here's Testaverde, handoff, Curtis Martin. Up the middle to the 5-yard line. John Yurkovich. Tuesday's world premiere movie, A Family of Cops, is threatened when a banker's murder points to one of their own. The Charles Bronson stars in the world premiere movie Family of Cops, Tuesday on CBS, America's most watched network.
Charles Bronson cut down on a few big plays. Jacksonville defense might need somebody like him if Bill Parcells' offense keeps running these formations and these big plays at him.
2nd and 7. You see the first down, CBS first down line to the right. And here's Testaverde, still perfect. Keith Byers makes the grab. And a fight is broken out at the 30-yard line. Doesn't appear that it will amount to much. Kevin Pritchett is one of those involved, and Kevin Mawai, the center, number 68.
Kevin Mawai is a guy they can ill afford to lose. So the last thing you want is a veteran like that who does not have all the playoff experience in the world coming from a place like the Seattle Seahawks. In this high pressure, really emotionally focused type situations as the playoffs can be. But this Jets offensive line has got a real attitude about what it wants to do and how it wants to do it. And look at Mawai go after Pritchett after Pritchett hit Todd Berger. This is a line that doesn't get a lot of credit, but they're a lot of the reason Vinny's played so well.
3rd and 4, and the spread offense now for the Jets. 4-man rush for Jacksonville, popped across the middle, and there is something rare. Wayne Corbett drops a pass.
I'll tell you something else about that, though, is the fact that Jacksonville defense did a nice job. Watch Corbett just try to come right behind the line. But the Jacksonville defense is right there to stop him. Hudson, the safety, filling up real quick like that. That's what Dick Duran's defense needs to do against the Jets. Don't give them room to breathe.
John Kidd, the 3rd Jet putter this season, will send it deep to Reggie Barlow, who led the AFC with a 13-yard per return average. This, not a good punt, but it makes a nice bounce straight up in the air and is picked up by Kevin Devine, and he pays the price back at the 15-yard line.
That is a mental mistake by Kevin Devine. He had no business being near that ball. Bad news is, Kevin, you got to go talk to Tom Coughlin now.
Manhattan or downtown Manhattan, as far as that goes. That's a 20-minute drive with no traffic, by the way. And a first down after the -10 on the return for Kevin Devine. Here's Taylor coming left. Up across the 20 and 23-yard line. Anthony Pleasant, number 98, made the tackle.
I think one thing that surprises defenses about him, about the running back Taylor, is his leg strength. He's 230 pounds. But when you look at his thighs and his calves, he almost looks like Natron Means, who used to run for this Jaguars offense and is now down in San Diego. A lot of power out of those legs, but also about 4.40.
4 for 16 in the early going. 1,200 yards in his first season with the Jaguars. 4-man rush for the Jets. Brunell across the middle. Caught by Tavian Banks, number 22. Tackle made by Chad Cascett, number 53.
Well, Chris Palmer, the defensive coordinator for the Jaguars, gives the Jets a little different look, putting the young running back out there at wide receiver and dragged him underneath Jimmy Smith.
Damon Jones, an extra tight end, is split way out to the right side on first down and 10. Brunell changing at the line. Here comes the blitz. Taylor tries to cut back, runs into Anthony Pleasant, number 98. Randy was talking about the thighs that Taylor has.
And one thing he does with those thighs so well, Vern, is he loves to cut back. He's looking back here. This play wants to go here. Watch how well Mo Lewis and the backside of this defense protect the cutback. Anthony Pleasant's right there, and Mo Lewis had the cutback gone.
2nd and 9, deep right side. Ray Mickens is back defending, and he has excellent coverage on the speedster, number 86. Elvis Whitted. Well, they put that one in to take advantage of the 5'7" Ray Mickens, but he was right there.
Hey, when you don't have an all-pro type cornerback like Glenn starting at corner, you go after a Mickens. But Mickens had so much pad, and look at his body body position on this pass. Perfect body position. That's defensive corner work on a long ball.
3rd and 9. Jaguars trail by 7. Need to get to the 41. Brunell chased to his left. Pulls up. Finds his receiver. Keenan McCardell, number 87, and that's good for the conversion.
Well, we've seen Mark Brunell move. Mark Brunell isn't moving with that speed he normally does, but he's got a little bounce in his step, and that's good for the Jacksonville offense. It's bad for the New York Jets offense, though, if he can escape the pressure that easily and that quickly. Because Anthony Pleasant got in his face, he got the corner, and there was no threat on Brunell.
1st down and 10 at the 42. High formation this time, and Mitchell comes in motion. Taylor. Brian Cox, 51, makes the tackle.
I talked about Brian Cox being the attitude and the emotion of this entire Jets team. That's what he's really brought here since Bill Parcells brought him in at the end of July. I mean, veterans, great. Veterans can be fantastic, but it's an intangible that Brian Cox has brought, and most of that's just attitude.
Brian Cox, an owner of some racehorses, and that's a passion he shares with Parcells. That's where they began a relationship that led to Cox coming here. Here's the handoff, and Anthony Pleasant makes the tackle on Fred Taylor.
Well, Tony Baselli, the all-pro left tackle, is working against Anthony Pleasant, and so far Anthony Pleasant is keeping those pads low. He's stuffing the big guy. Look at that play. We have seen some real nice fundamental football from Jet defenders so far. People talk about how well coached they are. You've seen a couple of real nice examples of how well coached this Jet defense is.
3rd and 6, and the shotgun employed. Brunell retreats, drills it, has a man open. It's McCardell. Across the 50 for the first time, a 10-yard gain. Keenan McCardell, 1st down Jaguars.
And in on that tackle on that play was Aaron Glenn, normally the starter at left cornerback. And watch the matchup between McCardell and how he finds a spot for his quarterback. There's the spot, he finds it, and Brunell finds him. They're going to look at Glenn, and they're going to go after Mickens, guaranteed. But a little pass blocking. Think Baselli's strong at all? There's a little of that attitude, too, out of Brian Cox. He was fined twice before this year, though, for swinging at people.
Quidditch back in. Here's the reverse to Elvis. No, it's a fake reverse, and the pass incomplete as Bobby Hamilton got a hand up, and Mo Lewis was also there. They fake to the speedster, Whitted, and then Brunell lets it go.
Defensive technique, coaching, and responsibility. Watch Hamilton, 92, come in, get up the field, then Mo Lewis gets right in Brunell's face and maintains the onside contain. That's another good sign of very, very good coaching and execution by the defense.
2nd and 10, 7-0 on a Keyshawn Johnson 21-yard touchdown catch. Taylor skips at the line, gets to the 43-yard line. Get online and send your funniest football joke to SuperBowl.com, then tune in Saturday night, January 30th. You see that airs during the NFL All-Star Comedy Blitz. 3rd and 8. Jaguars 3 of 4 on 3rd down conversions.
3rd down passing. Bill Cowher talked about how important that was for Jacksonville in the pregame show. Brunell in this offense so far executing very well on 3rd down passing.
With time, batted back again, Brian Cox. Got his hand on the ball.
Well, part of that attitude when you're working against a big horse like Tony Baselli is knowing when the battle might be a little bit over, but still having the presence of mind to get the hands up to block a pass, because guarantee you one thing, Tony Baselli is going to try to maul you physically.
Barker on for the 2nd punt, make it back to return it, nice and high. And a fair catch called at the 6, perhaps the 7-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. Barker brings rain on a sunny day. time call. Tis a chilly day in January, but almost no wind. Beautiful shots from up on top. Today's aerial coverage provided by Southwest Airlines. Curtis Martin with his heels almost on the goal line, and Bill Parcells has gone with a 3 wide receiver set on first down and 10. Martin near the 10-yard line. Now let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, because of a heart condition, Vinny Testaverde's dad, Alfred, can't watch the games in person or on TV. I called him this morning to find out how he'd be passing the time. He said he'd probably go to his daughter Elaine's to do some work in the basement. He said he knew she'd be watching the game, but all the carpentry work he'd be doing would drown out the noise. And he said, no matter what I do, it's a long 3 hours, Vern.
I can imagine. Well, if somehow word gets to him, they can say his son's doing quite well. 2nd and 8. Here's Martin with a cross, cuts it back to the right, gets a couple of yards. Joel Smenke, number 99, with the tackle.
What a nice job, too, by Eric Curry there, Vern. They gave him a little different type of formation, and Eric Curry blew right up the field outside of Jumbo Elliott and set up a nice situation where Curtis Martin had to cut back. So far, Dick Geron's doing an excellent job of game planning since that first drive.
Well, we have reached the end of one. That's the end of the first quarter. Bill Parcells' squad on top 7-0. They went 70 yards in 7 plays. Keyshawn Johnson got the touchdown. We'll return to Giant Stadium right after this message. And a word from your local station. In East Rutherford, New Jersey, we began quarter number 2. The Jets leading 7-0, scored on their opening drive, a 21-yard toss. Vinny Testaverde to Keyshawn Johnson, Don Lundquist, Randy Cross, and Michelle Tafoya here. First home game since 1986 in that season. The Jets defeated Kansas City in the first round game, then went out to Cleveland and lost in double overtime. They were back in the playoffs in 91, but lost a wild card game in Houston, 17-10. Leading here, but looking at 3rd and 6. And calling timeout. Time was actually called by Jacksonville. We'll be back in just a moment.
Quarter break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 players on the field after a quarter break. So that's why that look on Tom Coughlin's face was a little bit more than quizzical. When we went to that commercial, he wanted to know who was it and why.
Yeah, quizzical evolved into anger. 3rd and 6. Testaverde play fake. Little pressure. Pressure coming from behind. And they get the catch to Corbett out to the 21-yard line.
There's nobody better in the league than creating and finding dead spots in defenses and giving his quarterbacks something to hit than Wayne Corbett. Between the combination of Wayne Corbett and Keyshawn Johnson, these guys catching first down balls are unrivaled in the NFL. Because Vinny Testaverde is getting pressure onside first, and he doesn't know it, but it's coming from Curry on the backside. And look at Corbett. He finds the spot, turns his body, gives Vinny a target.
Dedrick Ward in the lineup, wide to the left. Here's Curtis Martin bursting on the right guard. Out across the 20 to the 28-yard line. Kevin Hardy, number 51, made the tackle.
That's something you haven't seen too much out of Curtis Martin this year. You know, he had 1,200 and some odd yards, averaged 3.5 yards to carry. But this guy has not run very often with just kind of a wild, crazy abandon. And you saw him just attack the line of scrimmage there.
4th consecutive season in which he has surpassed 1,000 yards. The first 3, of course, in New England. 2nd down. Here's Testaverde. Lobs it. Eddie Mason, number 53, in defensively, and now a flag is dropped.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 20, defense. 15 yards, first down.
Donovan Darius.
Poise and control are signs of Coughlin teams and Parcells teams. Vinny Testaverde sets the double screen up well, but watch the poise and control of Curtis Martin and the lack thereof right there by the young guy Donovan Darius, giving him the shot in the head when he's on the ground. No excuse, period. End of report.
Now Meggett is in the backfield after the 15-yard penalty. And a first down at the 47-yard line. Testaverde, quick setup. Oh, boy. Donovan Darius almost made amends of immense proportion.
When you're playing a team that physically is better than you, and the Jets are better than Jacksonville, you can't make the dumb mistakes. And when you get opportunities like that, you've got to take advantage of it. In a playoff situation, when you get a chance to get a hand on a ball, you got to find a way. And Donovan Darius wasn't complete, and he knocked it down. But what a great way to make up for a dumb mistake and make a nice catch.
Only the second incompletion for Testaverde. He's 7 of 9, second and 10. 7-0 Jets. Corbett in motion. Testaverde looking right all the way this time. Finds Keyshawn Johnson. That's the third catch for Johnson. He celebrated his selection to the Pro Bowl this week by buying 3 rather expensive watches for the 3 quarterbacks on this ball club.
Hey, he bought them all Rolexes.
That's what I said. Very expensive watch.
But I tell you what he does for Vinny Testaverde is not so much, you know, what he brings is a guy that after he catches the ball can be physical. And you saw him right there on Bill Parcells' sideline get physical and get all the way just about to a first down. In fact, they're going to measure, see if he did get it.
And they got it.
That's the part of Keyshawn's game I think he's really improved since he came in the league, is learning to be more physical. He's got the size advantage. Why not be physical? And there's what I was talking about earlier on third down and getting those big catches, second or third down, but getting those big catches for a first down.
Wayne Corbett. No 2 wide receivers in personality could be more opposite than these two. But it does not carry over to their complementary play on the field. Here's Martin to the 40-yard line. Tackle made by Kevin Hardy. Tuesday on CBS, a special 2-part Jag begins when Mack investigates a Navy cutter. Well, a lot of concern overnight, Randy, about wind. Almost non-existent. We've had a variety of atmospheric conditions here. Snow on Friday, fog yesterday, and clear skies today. He fires to the 32. Kevin Hardy with a tackle on number 41.
Charlie Weiss, the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets, helped design a video NFL football game in the offseason, and right now, the way he's calling plays, he looks like he's got one of those little game controllers out. He's just kind of picking his spots. He knows he's got a good offense, and he's giving him a little bit of everything. Gave him a little Meggett, give him a little Marks, give him a little Byers, give him a little Corbett.
Back split. This drive began on the 7-yard line after a Brian Barker punt. Blitz coming. Testaverde, a little pressure, pulls up and throws it away. Dave Thomas and Keyshawn Johnson. Dave Thomas said he would not chat with Keyshawn today, but I think he had a couple of things to say then.
Well, you know, when Dave Thomas is back covering a Keyshawn Johnson, too, and the old Vinny in that situation might have tried to make something happen. Vinny didn't try to make something happen, and when you're going against that matchup there, look at Keyshawn Johnson's size. He usually dominates defensive backs. There's virtually no difference.
Dave Thomas and Keyshawn Johnson renew their rivalry to the left side. Here's the toss to Martin. And Martin hit behind the line and loses yardage back to the 35. Joel Smengi, who's probably destined for off-season shoulder surgery, but plays on despite the injury.
Well, on that play there, he fought right through Brady. And when you see Kyle Brady in the Jets offense, pay very careful attention to Kyle Brady. But sometimes he's at a wing tight end, sometimes he's in a slot tight end, and very often he's in motion acting as a trapper. That time, Smeggy came right through the shoulder and wouldn't let Curtis Martin get the corner again on that quick toss.
Gravett and Johnson come to the near side. Diedrich Ward, he is tight right, and Fred Baxter's in as an extra tight end. Johnson and Testaverde goes deep for Diedrich Ward, incomplete at the 14-yard line. Coverage from Kevin Devine.
Well, I got to tell you something now, Vern. I mean, I'm enjoying this game, obviously, but Eric Curry, number 75, for a guy that's starting for Tony Brackens and hasn't played a whole lot, look at him working right there against Fred Baxter, the tight end, and getting this pressure on Vinny Testaverde. We've seen this guy, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer first-round draft choice, really coming on and has brought a serious dose of football to the Jets offense.
John Hall will attempt one officially from 51 yards. Has a great leg. Accuracy sometimes a problem, but not now. What with?
Yes, is sponsored by the new Dodge. It's about change. Nike and the Nike Alpha Project. And by Staples, the office superstore.
John Hall has just set a New York Jet postseason record for longest field goal. And officially, they're going to give him that extra 4 inches and make it a 52-yarder. Now he will kick off, and Reggie Barlow is one of 2 men deep, joined by Tavian Banks. And this one almost as long as the field goal effort. It bounces inside the 20. Chris Hayes. Tavian Banks. John Hall. Bill Parcells says go ahead and try it.
Well, in a place where most people think, you don't kick a lot of long field goals here, but how much doubt did he have? And it wasn't like it crawled over, folks. Look at that. He had plenty of leg. Might have been good from 53. 54. I don't know about 50 now.
Okay. 10-0. Mark Brunell and the Jaguars find themselves down. They defeated New England last week. They'll go deep left side, and this one's picked off. Otis Smith, who's having really a terrific season, complements it with a playoff interception.
That one there looked like a Meadowlands football. Phil Simms, who played a lot of years here, talks about how when you're moving in this direction, throwing towards that corner of the field, the wind has a tendency to make the ball hang up and move, and that's exactly what happened. Otis Smith had good body position on Jimmy Smith. Mark Brunell looks, throws it up, and the ball just stalls. Look at the double coverage. That ball had no business being there. They're taking their shot against Otis Smith with Otis Smith with Jimmy Smith, but he made him pay.
First down and 10 at the 40. Curtis Martin across the 50 to the 45-yard line. A 15-yard gain. Kevin Hardy finally caught up with him.
Well, sometimes, Vernon, if you're an offensive lineman, you just got to take a guy where he wants to go. And Kevin Mawai and Todd Berger and Jumbo Elliott just take people where they want to go. Good job there by Jumbo Elliott, but look at the authority and the decision-making of a running back on that run right there. I mean, Curtis Martin is bringing it. He talked this week that he was going to have a big game. He was going to bring it. He has brought it.
That's a gain of 15, and the second big play on the ground. This could be the third. Here's Martin down to the 36-yard line. Donovan Darius with the tackle.
And that one there was right into the heart of the Jaguars defense. When you talk about the heart, you got to look at Kevin Mawai, the center. He works with the guards in there. O'Dwyer, little quick trap there by Byers on Yurkovich. Nice block by Kevin Mawai on the linebacker, Schwartz. Martin is bringing it, and those offensive linemen are the reason.
Curtis Martin, following the block of Kevin Mawai, now has 50 yards, halfway to his stated goal of 100. Here's the play fake from Testaverde. Drills it. Caught. No! Drop. Baxter, who has caught only 3 this season, had that one right in his mitts.
Bill Parcells talked about this version of Vinny Testaverde doesn't try to force the long passes down the field, and when he moves, he doesn't try to force the ball. He usually just runs. Well, this is designed for a pass. This is designed for Baxter to drag back behind. Vinny put it where it was supposed to be. You can't do it all, Vinny. You need a little help.
3rd and 1. Double tight end set. Baxter lined up tight to the left. Curtis Martin with a deep set has room. And a first down for the Jets at the 31-yard line. 5 more for Curtis Martin.
They're really
Schwartz, excuse me, Randy.
Oh, Vern, they're taking advantage right now. The Jacksonville defense running the ball behind Jumbo, Berger, and Kevin Mawai, because they're just pulverizing the inside of that defense and folding the defense down, enabling Curtis Martin to make those cuts. Watch the defense just fold down to the left, sets up the cut back to the left. Dick Duran, the coordinator for the Jaguars, better start stunting. They're going to eat him alive.
1st and 10. Martin again. To the 30-yard line. Kevin Hardy with the tackle, number 51. Well, let's take a look at the CBS Sportsline question of the week. What was the most exciting regular season game this year? We'll give you 4 choices. A, B, C, or D. Log on to vote at cbssportsline.com and on America Online at keyword CBS Sportsline.
There's Dick Duran, the defensive coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who really has to be challenged right now with the attack to Bill Parcells' offense and the different looks they're giving him.
Corbett starts in motion. Testaverde goes right to Keyshawn Johnson. And he moves it to the 25-yard line. Well, Vinny Testaverde, of course, released last year by Ted Marchibroda and the Baltimore Colts. They decided, Baltimore Colts, listen to me, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going back to the days of the Super Bowl III, and what a turnaround it's been for him.
It really has been, because these numbers as a Jet, I mean, how can you ask for a quarterback to be a better decision maker and a more positive force? And talk about a guy that's in the perfect situation. He's around his family year-round. I've never seen Vinny, and I've been around him most of his career. I've never seen Vinny this comfortable and confident.
3rd and 2. They toss it to Martin. He spins, and he's got the first down. Inside the 20 and down to the 18. Chris Hudson finally got there, but much too late.
Well, some guys bring it in bags, and some guys bring it in buckets. And Curtis Martin is getting a bucket full of help from his line. He gets a missed tackle by Curry, and then he just spins out. And if you're a safety, they've got him. He's gone. No, he's not. Here he comes.
Now Bill Parcells has Meggett in the lineup, along with Alex Van Dyke. 5 receivers. Meggett split way to the left. Across the middle, incomplete. Dave Thomas got there defensively as Keyshawn Johnson made the stop.
You know, one thing this defense needs to do more of is you need to be more proactive and not reactive. They're seeing the formations, and they're sort of sitting back and letting the Jets take this offense to them. Defensively, if the Jaguars don't start attacking Vinny in this offense, especially up in the front 5 with the offensive line, they will dictate the rest of this game with this style of physical football.
Corbett goes wide right on 2nd and 10. Johnson wide to the left. They're also exercising great ball control. This the 9th play of the drive. Here's Martin. And Randy, this is a Jacksonville team that has been susceptible to the run most of the year. They gave up. There's a flag, comes late. Tom Coughlin's team gave up 205 to Pittsburgh in the last regular season game on the ground. They thought they'd solved the problem in a convincing way.
Illegal motion, 2 men moving prior to the snap, and they did not reset. 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's a mental mistake. And you can make physical mistakes for Bill Parcells to some extent. We talked to a lot of his ex-players, and they'll tell you about how long Bill Parcells tolerates mental mistakes.
That is the first penalty for New York, and it comes with 5:43 to go before the break. 2nd and 15 at the 22. Fires out. Dedrick Ward comes back in. Testaverde talking with us about the contributions of his 2 regular wide receivers, Johnson and Corbett, said, don't forget Dedrick Ward. He's won about 4 games this year with huge plays. He's put to the left. Fumble picked up on 1 bounce. And here we go with Chris Hudson. He laterals back to Eric Curry, and then Dave Thomas loses it. Are you kidding me? There is a flag down at the 39 as well. Chris Hudson picked it up on 1 bounce and inexplicably decided to lateral the ball to Eric Curry.
One of the cardinal sins you can make as a defender is when you make something good happen, the last thing you want to do is try to make something better happen, and it ends up being negative. And Tom Coughlin's football team has showed a little lack of poise in this half. 10 guys on the field, a late hit by Darius, and that is another mental lapse by Hudson. There's no excuse for that. You just do not do that at the end of a big play.
Now we'll have a conversation led by Bob McElwee. Joel Smengi is the man who made the hit on Curtis Martin that started all of this.
But the question here, too, has to center around if it was a forward lateral or not when Hudson threw it. Because Hudson looked back and thought he saw somebody, Dave Thomas. But by the time Thomas, I think it was, got by him, he was in front of him.
There is no foul. The fumble recovery is good. First down.
I mean, 1 3-letter word. Wow. Curtis Martin. There's the negative for the Jets. There's the positive for the Jaguars. Keep it a positive. No, don't. He's going to do it again. And by the time he flips it, it ends up being a forward lateral. Thomas and Curry are in there. And that is lack of poise and lack of control. And Papa, like Parcells, does not tolerate mental lapses.
Get the idea sometimes that there are a few too many highlight shows late at night and too many young players want to make their presence known on those highlight shows. Chris Hudson, in his 4th year from Colorado, had given his team a heck of a jump start and then negates it with the decision to lateral. Here's Byers in motion. Martin. Another 8 and maybe 9. Make it officially a 9-yard gain.
Well, Charlie Weiss upstairs says, hey, if you liked him on that last preempted drive right in your face, you're going to love him this time because my offensive line is going to create a hole. Todd Berger is going to drive Yurkovich to the ground. Martin hurdles him, gets hit, and doesn't stop. When a guy gets in the air and gets hit 99.9% of the time, he immediately goes to the ground. Curtis Martin is running possessed.
Already 72 yards on 16 carries. They'll give it to him again. Bryce Popp makes the tackle and appears to be short of the first down.
Now, that was a little proactive defense. That wasn't waiting and reacting. Bryce Popp came in there and did a little proactive all over the chest of Curtis Martin on that run. And that's the kind of play, the kind of fire this defense needs to get back.
Jets are 4 of 6 on 3rd downs, and they've got 3rd and less than a foot here. First down, New York. Out near the 50 at 48, Donovan Darius makes the tackle. Well, either Jacksonville or the Jets will head out to the Rocky Mountains. The AFC Championship game next Sunday, 4 o'clock. The Denver Broncos, who looked just a little convincing yesterday in destroying Miami, will be at home again. Of course, it was 2 years ago that Jacksonville went out there and defeated the Broncos 30-27. And it will all begin with our coverage of the NFL today. The guys are going on site to Mile High next week.
And Mike Shanahan's football team sent a message to the NFL, the heck with the AFC. Those losses, those lapses,
First and 10, Testaverde comes left, finds Corbett, who leans out and gets the first down at the 41. Dave Thomas makes the tackle, but a gain of 11.
You know, it's wide receivers like Keyshawn with his power and Wayne Corbett with his effort that spoil football fans and football coaches. Because not all receivers have Keyshawn's power, and not all receivers have Corbett's effort. That is a guy thinking the whole time he's on the football field. Right to the time he's being tackled, right to the time he goes to the ground, he's using his head.
He did not make the Pro Bowl roster this year. Many thought he should have, but he will go as a guest at Testaverde. Here's Vinny Testaverde for Johnson, tipped away. Nice play by Aaron Beasley, number 21, who got his right hand up.
Hey, you got to say Chris Hudson, too, was dragging across in coverage on Keyshawn Johnson. Because Keyshawn's going to come inside. Dave Thomas is going to try to stay with him, but it's a zone defense. They let him run, and look at Hudson pick him up. That is good defense, finished off by Beasley. Watch Beasley coming from the left side of your screen with that right hand.
Johnson breaks the huddle, goes wide to the right. Curtis Martin as Corbett goes in motion. Vinny Testaverde goes right. Keyshawn Johnson makes the grab in front of Kevin Devine, number 26.
That was a pass there, and a veteran cornerback might have jumped on that. Vinny let that thing hang out there an awful long time. Devine was thinking tackle, not interception.
We have reached the 2-minute warning at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Jets up by 10. Beautiful view of the skyline of Manhattan in the background. Giant Stadium in the foreground here at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford. And today's aerial coverage provided by Southwest Airlines. Temperature in the mid-20s. The Jets much hotter than that. And they lead at 10-0. Coming up at halftime on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, we'll go back across the Hudson to Jim Marcus, Brent Jones, Mike Lombardi, and Bill Cowher, coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who their analysis of the first half.
Jacksonville has to limit the Jets here. They can't let them score because Vinny and these Jets have dominated the first half. And that's domination right there.
More than double the number of plays, more than double the time of possession. And Curtis Martin has another first down at the 30-yard line, and another little fracas breaks out between these two teams who are not noted for the intensity of their rivalry. They've only played twice before.
Well, it's Jumbo Elliott and Kevin Hardy. There's no excuse for losing your poise like that. And it was started by Kevin Hardy of the Jaguars. Keep your poise. Your football team is killing itself, losing your composure. There's Jumbo right there getting a block on Hardy. He gives him a little bit of a push. That makes him mad, but you don't come back. You do not do that. Not smart football. When you're physically being dominated and you're cooperating by being the other guy's 12th man, by making dumb mistakes, you have no excuse if you're getting your tail whipped.
Kevin Hardy has been a standout for Jacksonville this year, despite their struggles defensively. Strong side linebacker a year ago, made the switch to the weak side when they signed Bryce Boff as a free agent, and has led the team in tackles, but now and no flag down.
Well, the time for that macho and that fire is after the snap and before the whistle.
Interesting no call. First and 10. Testaverde goes deep right side. Johnson Mayer hangs on as Donovan Darius makes contact, but the 6th grab for Keyshawn Johnson.
Nice possession by Keyshawn. Good job by holding on to the ball. But look at the rope that Vinny Testaverde puts this thing out on. The young cornerback takes the bite. Donovan gets the hit. But Vinny lays it in the perfect spot between the corner and the safety. And kudos to Keyshawn for holding on to that one.
That was Kevin Devine who lost his balance, shall we say.
And Keyshawn had possession the whole way till he hit the ground.
6 for 67 for Keyshawn. Here's Testaverde. Lobs it out for his tight end, Kyle Brady, who was struggling to get his balance. As he turned around, he was wide open.
More pushing and shoving up front with Jose White and Matt O'Dwyer. The Jets are intimidating physically and mentally this defense right now. But Kyle Brady, Vinny kind of spins it in a bad spot, and Brady just can't physically adjust fast enough or doesn't have quite enough football field to adjust to that pass.
Now Parcells will go with a 3 wide receiver set. 2 of them to the left side. Keyshawn Johnson split to the right. 2nd and 10. Draw play. Down to the 10-yard line. Donovan Darius and Brian Schwartz along with Chris Hudson. There, Tom Coughlin, 3 years on the staff with Bill Parcells and the New York Giants, then became the head coach at Boston College. When the Jacksonville job came open, Coughlin called Parcells, and Bill said he told Tom Coughlin, they've got 3 other guys they want to talk to. Why don't you let them talk to those 3 and tell them if they're not happy with them, come back to you and enhance your position. He said Coughlin did that. Reverse. Keyshawn Johnson. He will stroll in.
When you're in a situation as an offense where you are physically beating somebody and mentally you know you're in their heads, you can count on overreaction. The Jaguars defense overreacts to the onside, setting up Keyshawn Johnson, who's got a convoy out in front, just steps across, and despite Dave Thomas's hit, which was in the end zone, it's a touchdown.
Keyshawn Johnson ran twice in the regular season. He gets a touchdown on the ground. That's his 2nd TD. He's gone both routes.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Propecia. Talk to your doctor today. And by 10-10-220.
Back at Giant Stadium. And the New York Jets dominating. Check this out. They have run 20 consecutive offensive plays.
It's just a mental and physical domination so far, not only by the guys on the field, the guys in the boxes. Charlie Weiss and Bill Belichick are having fabulous first halves, and the Jaguars, in their non-defense, they're helping the Jets an awful lot.
9-play drive, and then it must seem like light years ago that Chris Hudson picked up a Curtis Martin fumble and returned it, only to lateral and lose the ball back. Here's Reggie Barlow. Marcus Coleman comes over, and Chris Hayes, they make the tackle at the 35-yard line. That one return of a fumble, the only time that Jacksonville has touched the ball in the last 20 plays.
Here's Keyshawn. Watch the defense react that way, and check out Kevin Mawai, the center for the Jets. That release has to tell a defense no other thing but, hey, I'm going downfield. But the Jag defense reacted so hard onside, there was nobody to see Kevin Mawai get out.
21-yard touchdown catch and a 10-yard touchdown run for Keyshawn Johnson. Here's a handoff. Fred Taylor out to the 40-yard line. Coming up with the NASDAQ Amex halftime report back across Hudson. Jim Nance, Brent Jones, Marcus Allen, Mike Lombardi, and Bill Cowher. First half analysis. That's coming up shortly. Here's Brunell. That's his 4th completion, the first catch for Jimmy Smith, number 82. Clock is stopped after the 8-yard gain. Jaguars have 6 seconds remaining in the first half. The Jets lead over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tom Coughlin, Mark Brunell having a quick chat. 1 timeout left.
It's just a situation. Bill Parcells' defense, nobody gets behind you. Your defensive backs that are going to go back to as far as possible. Corwin Brown will be the deepest man. Deepest, then the deepest. That's Corwin Brown right there. No one gets behind you.
Jets bring 3. Brunell up. Deep left side. That's caught. That's a touchdown. Oh my gosh, 52 yards. Jimmy Smith over Otis Smith.
Well, we've seen some mental lapses out of the Jacksonville Jaguars, cost them some points, but Tom Coughlin's offense right there, and their coordinator upstairs, Chris Palmer, everyone's thinking Big Ben. Don't let anybody they're going to lob it up there. Jimmy Smith just flat gets it down the sideline. And Mark Brunell, I talked about at the beginning of the game, throwing that deep ball well. That was perfect.
Mike Collins for the extra point. Lightning strikes for the Jaguars. At the end of the half, Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells
will have some pearls for their boys in the locker room, because Otis Smith gets blown by Jimmy Smith. Look at that concentration to catch that. And Henderson doesn't get over fast enough to help Otis. And Brunell acts like, hey, was there ever a doubt?
Otis Smith has given up just 1 touchdown pass in regular season. That to Marcus Pollard of the Indianapolis Colts. But a lapse on the final play allows the Jaguars to get back in the game. NASDAQ MX halftime report next. That's all coming up in just a moment. By the final play of the first half, the Jets still lead it